Episode 544 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic is a special live episode. Tonight, I will be talking all about AEW Worlds End, which was on pay-per-view tonight, featuring the finals of the AEW Continental Classic. The Women's Championship was on the line. The TBS Championship was on the line. 2 8-man tag team matches. A no DQ match for the TNT Championship. And of course, in the main event, the AEW World Championship was on the line. And it has finally happened. The devil has been revealed. I will talk about everything that took place on World's End tonight, right here, right now. 360 Wrestling Fanatic. And welcome, Wrestling Fanatics, to episode 544 of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. A special episode. For some reason, I had a little bit of difficulty going live right now, so unfortunately, I am recording it at 2:29 a.m. right now. Well, just turned 2:30. Right here on my iPhone. Right after Worlds End from All Elite Wrestling just finished the AEW media scrum with Tony Khan moments ago. Like I said this morning on Good Morning Wrestling Fans, I was definitely going to try to do the show tonight after the media scrum, and luckily I was able to stay awake during, and maybe it was just me, I'm not sure, but tonight it kind of seemed like there was almost a little bit more of a wait for it to start. Just in case you never watched any of the media scrums after an AEW or a Ring of Honor pay-per-view, usually they're on AEW's YouTube or maybe other social media too, but when you first go there, usually shows the logo of the pay-per-view on the screen. And then finally, when they're already all set to go, Tony Khan comes on, brings on some guests, and then answers questions from the media that are there live at the scrum. Now, without any further ado, let's get into AEW Worlds End. Live on pay-per-view, and it was live on Long Island, New York, at the Nassau Veterans Memorial Coliseum. Our commentators tonight, we had the usual kind of a change-up. Halfway during the show, they would change. The commentators tonight were Excalibur, Taz, Nigel McGuinness, and Tony Schiavone. And like I said, and also during times we did have guest commentators. We did have Daddy Magic, Matt Menard on commentary. And let's get right into it. We started off things tonight with 0 Hour. In our first match, Willow Nightingale taking on Chris Statlander. I thought this one was a pretty entertaining match, especially for a pre-show 0 Hour match. I thought this was pretty entertaining. And I was just talking about the commentators. For this one, we had Stokely Hathaway as a guest on commentary. Once again, really good match here. Both of them from Long Island, New York. And it was Willow Nightingale getting the win at 13 minutes, 25 seconds, defeating Chris Statlander. Next up on 0 Hour, we have a 20-man battle royal where the winner will get a shot at the AEW TNT Championship at any time they want. And this one, this battle royal was kept kind of short, but to be honest, I really didn't think it was all that bad though. It went 13 minutes 50 seconds, and it was won by the former Luchasaurus, now known as Killswitch. So now Killswitch gets a contract that he can cash in at any time for the AEW TNT Championship. And I will talk more about that in just a little bit right here on 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Kind of a spoiler alert there, so stay tuned to the rest of the podcast. And our final match on 0 Hour, FTW rules. For the FTW Championship, we had the FTW Champion Hook taking on Blackpool Combat Club member Wheeler Yuta. Once again, third match here on 0 Hour, and I would say the third really good, solid match. It is Hook defeating Yuta, getting the win in his home state of New York. Still FTW Champion Hook. Once again, I thought this was a good match. So overall, I thought that it was a very good 0 Hour, which I have to admit, AEW and I guess you could say Ring of Honor too, even though for the pre-shows or the 0 Hours, I should say they actually do have some pretty solid, some pretty good, pretty entertaining wrestling matches on the pre-shows. So that is a good thing. Either maybe people that don't actually order the pay-per-views, or for some reason, in case of WWE, or which, well, they don't. I don't know why I brought that up, but if for some reason you don't watch the pay-per-view, you can watch the 0 Hour on AEW social media, either to YouTube, the Facebook, or the X. And now let's get into the main card. AEW Worlds End, which was tonight, which I already have mentioned, but first off, we start off with one of the 8-man tag team matches, And we had the Blackpool Combat Club, Claudio Castagnoli, and the American Dragon, Bryan Danielson, teaming with Mark Briscoe and Daniel Garcia to take on Honoring the House of Black, Brody King, Switchblade Jay White, Jay Lethal, and Roosh. This one went 17 minutes, 50 seconds. Good opener. I don't know if I would say if I thought this was the best choice to open the pay-per-view, but it was still a pretty good match. I enjoyed it anyway. Good 8-man tag here. And Castagnoli, Danielson, Briscoe, and Garcia get the win, with actually Daniel Garcia scoring the win for his team. And next up on World's End, we have Miro taking on Andrade El Idolo with Miro's wife, CJ Perry, in his corner. And this one, once again, pretty good match. And I kind of expected this, but it was CJ Perry turning against Andrade and helping her husband Miro get the win, as after CJ turns on Andrade, he hits a kick and then locks in the game over and gets the submission win. So Miro defeating Andrade, and I will talk more about Andrade El Idolo in just a little bit when I get to the media scrum part of the recap. But World's End continues, and next up, the AEW Women's World Championship is on the line. We have Timeless Toni Storm with Luther taking on the first ever AEW Women's World Champion, Riho. I was looking forward to this one, and I thought it was a very good match. During the match, Luther does get involved and gets ejected from ringside. But in the end, Mariah May is still there, and she gets involved, allowing Timeless Toni Storm to defeat Riho and retain the AEW Women's World Championship. And next, a little bit of a change here. And by the way, the time for the Women's World Championship match, 11 minutes, 40 seconds. Sorry if I forgot to mention that. Next up, this match was changed a little bit. Was going to be Swerve Strickland taking on Limitless Keith Lee, but unfortunately Keith Lee, out with an injury, was not medically cleared to compete tonight. So we had a last minute substitution, and that was the natural Dustin Rhodes, who stepped up to the plate and took on Swerve Strickland on World's End tonight. We got the entrance, Swerve Strickland, whose house? Swerve's house. So that means one of the best things in pro wrestling today, the Prince Nana dance, of course, was over as usual. And I don't know if anybody else saw this or not, but maybe a couple weeks or so ago, Prince Nana posted on Instagram a video of the Grinch doing the dance. It's pretty entertaining. I recommend, in case you don't follow Prince Nana on Instagram for some reason, definitely worth going to check that video or reel, whatever they're called, out. And Swerve and Dustin Rhodes, pretty good match here. This match starts off Swerve attacking Dustin right before the match started, injuring him out on the floor. It looks like the medics are going to have him go to the back, stop the match. But Dustin competes anyway, taking on Swerve Strickland. And I thought this actually told a pretty good story. You had Prince Nana at ringside yelling at Dustin. You could have walked away, and Swerve got the win at 9 minutes, 30 seconds. And Worlds End continues now with another 8-man tag. Les Sex Gods, Chris Jericho, and Sammy Guevara, Sting and Darby Allin, taking on the team of the AEW World Tag Team Champions, Absolute Ricky Starks and Big Bill, along with the Don Callis family team of Konosuke Takeshita and Powerhouse Hobbs. And of course, they have Don Callis in their corner. Pretty good match here, I thought. I'd say, actually, out of the two 8-man tag team matches, that this one might have been my favorite of the two. And Jericho, Guevara, Sting, and Darby get the win 15 minutes, 40 seconds. The AEW TBS Championship is on the line next. The AEW TBS Champion honoring the House of Black, Julia Hart, taking on Abaddon, the Living Dead Girl. Big fan of Abaddon. I am glad they brought her back on TV, because ever since they took off Dark and Dark Elevation, you didn't really see a whole lot of Abaddon, and I'm glad they did bring her back. She came back around Halloween a little bit, and then tonight, of course, for the TBS Championship match. So I hope we do continue to see Abaddon on AEW television or Ring of Honor, either one. And this match, I thought this one was pretty good. Julia Hart retaining the TBS Championship, defeating Abaddon with an assist from Sky Blue at 11 minutes, 35 seconds. The AEW TNT Championship is on the line in a no disqualification match. And it is the Rated R superstar Adam Copeland challenging the AEW TNT champion, the Patriarchy, Christian Cage, with Nick Wayne and his mother, Shayna, in Christian's corner. Great match, I thought. I thought these two put it all on the line. And weapons, of course, garbage can, table, a ladder. Nick Wayne, of course, got involved. And we saw fire Edge put Nick Wayne through a flaming table to take care of him. Or, I'm sorry, Adam Copeland. I have to get used to that still. Adam Copeland, I should say. And we actually see Adam Copeland defeat his former friend, former tag team partner Christian Cage to become the new AEW TNT champion at 25 minutes. His first championship in All Elite Wrestling. He's in the ring celebrating, but the celebration is definitely cut short, as post-match we see Killswitch enter the ring, attack Adam Copeland, and yes, he does have the contract with him from the 0 Hour Battle Royal he won. And he goes to cash in for the shot at the TNT Championship. But before the referee is able to call for the bell, we see Christian Cage get in the ring and yell at Killswitch and tell him, demand him pretty much, to give him that contract for a shot at the TNT Championship. First, Killswitch doesn't look too happy about it. He doesn't want to do it. And then finally we see Cage whisper in the ear of Killswitch, which I didn't mention this, by the way. Adam Copeland getting the win on Christian with the Killswitch, the finishing move of Christian Cage. And back to the post-match now. Christian whispers in the ear of Killswitch, and then Killswitch just looks down and gives Christian the contract. Whatever Christian Cage whispered into the ear of Killshot, this could turn into an angle. Maybe he has some kind of dark secret or something over the head of Killswitch, which we may eventually find out about. So Christian Cage gets the contract for the shot at the AEW TNT Championship. Hits Adam Copeland with a spear and gets the pin to become the new AEW TNT champion. Once again, Christian Cage. So tonight on World's End, we saw Adam Copeland win his first championship in All Elite Wrestling. And we also saw Adam Copeland become the shortest AEW TNT champion in the history of All Elite Wrestling as well. And it was 11 seconds, Christian defeating Adam Copeland for the TNT Championship. So obviously not going to really... I forgot to rate the matches. I don't know why, but I forgot for some reason. It just popped into my head. I don't know if I should start now or I know it's late, but I'll start now anyway. This, not going to rate that. Quick title change, but I'd say I'll just put the two together. I'd say 4 out of 5 ring bells in my opinion. I thought the match with Copeland and Edge, or there you go again, Copeland and Christian Cage was very entertaining, and then had the twist at the end with Killswitch trying to cash in the contract for the title shot, but then Christian Cage getting it and getting the TNT Championship back right after he lost it. And next up, we have the finals of the AEW Continental Classic Tournament. And it is Eddie Kingston defending the Ring of Honor World Championship and the NJPW Strong Openweight Championship, taking on Jon Moxley. And 17 minutes, 20 seconds. Fantastic match, which was expected. Definitely not surprised. Also, Bryan Danielson was on commentary for this match. Great match. Eddie Kingston getting the win, defeating Jon Moxley. And let me just say, I am a big Jon Moxley fan, but I am definitely glad to see the Mad King, Eddie Kingston, become the first Continental Crown Champion. Being presented the new championship tonight, was definitely glad to see that. And now it is main event time tonight on Worlds End. The AEW World Championship on the line. MJF, Maxwell Jacob Friedman, defending against Samoa Joe. This one starts off Samoa Joe out first. Then MJF, of course, got the big hometown pop. Had a special intro of people from Long Island all talking about MJF. And then they say he's our scumbag. And then they all put a MJF scarf on around their necks. And then we see the world champion make his entrance into the arena. And then we get a surprise. Is the return of MJF's partner. And we see a reunion of the team known as Better Than You, Baby, as we see the return of Adam Cole, Baby. And this is a really good match, I thought, between MJF and Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe getting the win when MJF goes over to Adam Cole to get the Dynamite Diamond ring. And Adam Cole at first kind of acts like he can't find it. He finally does. And then Samoa Joe gets in the kicking a clutch on MJF. Chokes out MJF. The winner of the match and new AEW World Champion, Samoa Joe. And after the match, Adam Cole is in the ring with his partner, MJF. And then we see the Devil's masked men surround the ring. They come in, they grab Adam Cole, they hold him while they attack MJF. Cole tells the masked man to hit him instead of MJF. MJF tells them to hit him. But then finally the lights go out. It goes black for a little bit. And then when the lights come back on in the arena, it is revealed the identity of the devil is none other than Adam Cole, baby. Adam Cole revealed as the devil. And not only that, the masked men were revealed as well. And to be honest, not really a surprise. Roderick Strong, Mike Bennett, Matt Taven, and Wardlow were a part of the masked men. Now, were they the actual ones that have been seen on AEW TV this whole time? Who knows? Because there were actually more than just the 5 of them, I believe, but who knows? But the identity of the devil has been revealed. Wardlow hits MJF with a power bomb, laying him out. And that is the end of the pay-per-view as Worlds End goes off the air. And overall, I thought it was a really good pay-per-view. Strong show tonight. Had some really good wrestling on this card, in my opinion. And I have to admit, I was kind of maybe 50-50 tonight on whether if we would find out the reveal of the devil. Going into it, I know most people wanted the reveal. They wanted to find out who this devil is already. But we did find out Adam Cole. And it does look like MJF, who is dealing with an injury, maybe taking some time off. Now after dropping the AEW World Championship to Samoa Joe. So actually, if he does take a little bit of time off from AEW, that really wouldn't be too much of a surprise to see. And like I said, after World's End, I had to wait a bit for the media scrum to start. And then when it does finally come on, we see, of course, Tony Khan. And first, he is joined by the new AEW World Champion, Samoa Joe. And then the AEW Women's World Champion, Timeless Toni Storm. The AEW, which, first, before I get to the next one, Toni Storm had this like kind of fuzzy hat and sunglasses on, which she ended up putting them on Tony Khan during the conference. And I've said this before on the podcast, but big fan of this Toni Storm character. And even though I am a fan of Riho as well, I'm not disappointed that they kept the title on Toni Storm. I gotta admit, that's probably the best choice. She is definitely a great character and definitely a highlight of AEW television each week. And then next up was the AEW TBS champion, Julia Hart. And next up, I believe, was Daniel Garcia. And then Tony Khan took some questions. And he was asked about Chris Jericho, which I'm sure most of you listening right now have probably heard. Not gonna talk about it right now. Not on this episode anyway of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, but I'm guessing, like I said, I'm sure most people that are listening to 360 Wrestling Fanatic right now probably have heard what I'm talking about, or what happened with Chris Jericho in the news. And like he said, he couldn't really get into it. I mean, I don't even know why people even asked about it, because I wouldn't have even really expected TK to say anything about it. Anyway, he kind of dodged. He just pretty much talked about AEW's policy of misconduct and harassment, things like that. And he said if anybody has a problem in the back, they can go to him. And he did pretty much kind of the usual AEW media scrum. And one thing I was surprised about was Tony Storm was actually asked about any of the free agents, which I'm sorry, I want to say the reporter was Fightful, but I don't remember her name, so I apologize to her. I mean, she's probably not listening anyway, but I apologize anyway for not remembering her name. But she asked Tony Storm about any of the free agents. So you're pretty much thinking of Mercedes Moné, maybe Deonna Purrazzo. And she kind of teases and says she's gonna face, or wants to face, Wendy Richter. So that kind of got popped for me. And that was the media scrum tonight after the AEW Worlds End pay-per-view. Once again, Worlds End I thought was a really good, solid pay-per-view. Overall, I'd give it 9.5 out of 10 rainbows. Was a big fan of it tonight. But let me know what you think. 360 Wrestling Fanatic listeners, anybody listening to this podcast right now, you can give your thoughts and your opinions on AEW Worlds End in the comment section, either right here on Spreaker, on YouTube, or whichever podcast app or website you listen to on. Anywhere you listen to 360 Wrestling Podcast, if they have a comment section, you can give your thoughts and opinions on AEW's Worlds End pay-per-view. And before I wrap up this episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic, I just want to thank everyone for listening, not only to this episode, but everything from 360 Wrestling Podcast all year. And I know I say this, I always say this, well, I'm sure most, people say it anyway, but I hope 2024, next year, 360 Wrestling Podcast will get bigger and better than ever before. So let's hope so. And once again, thank you everyone for listening. And I am Lance, and I am a wrestling fanatic.